Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the postnatal because, in many of the videos that I've made thus far, you could say the postnatal is kind of getting a bad rap. And I want to try to clear up any misconceptions that might arise from thinking like this is somehow bad or evil. I mean, certainly we could say that this is the realm of suffering, that there is this desire that propels us forward, that's built upon the sensations that we're having, and then it kind of goes around and around in this cycle we might call dukkha, suffering, right? The unpleasant things that happen as a result of engagement in the material phenomena. But, as much as it's the case that the prenatal is our refuge, nevertheless, we are still living creatures here in material existence. And so, in some respects, our lot will always be to struggle with the postnatal while we're here on Earth, because, of course, this is prenatal. It's before born, right? Before we were born, and we may be able to visit it through the entryway here. The yellow chamber is what they call it in the Taoist alchemy, right? But unless we ascend like a Xian, like an ascendant master, we're going to be perpetually kind of straddling these two worlds. And so let's not like dismiss the postnatal as if it were something to be left behind. I mean, ideally, we will someday leave it behind. But while we're here in material configuration, well, we're going to be dealing with this on one way because the body has sensation and it has urges. At the very least, you need to be able to maintain it by eating, despite what the breatharians say. It seems like, yeah, breatharians tend to die. So we are going to have to eat. It's a bodily sensation that needs to be filled, even though ultimately it's futile because it always ends the same way. But here we are. This is the nature of existence. There's an interesting bit somewhere. I think it's Cheng Po Chuan who says something along the lines of suffering comes from having a body. It's obviously true. So here we are in a body. Let's not pretend that we can live in this all the time. This is meditation. This is recovery of basic essence and energy. This is the ideal, and this is what we are struggling with. The real. Now we could say that this is Maya, but even if that's true, it's incredibly vivid. It's like, okay, in the Matrix, right? Does it really help if someone tells you that this is an artificial reality? No, you're still trapped in it. Whether you pop out of one artificial reality into another one, there you are. And so as long as there is this kind of sense of a being that is subject to the conditions within which they find themselves, well, the postnatal is going to present a challenge, an ever-present challenge, for so long as one is embodied, which is basically what it means to be a being within a particular set of circumstances. Because without a body, how could you be in a particular set of circumstances? So we can speculate all we want about what it means to be disembodied, but all of that is just speculation. And, I guess there are some who feel that they have visited the other side in a variety of different ways, your near-death experiences and what have you. And of course, we all have some little brush with this world. And eventually we end up going into how would we say this? I guess we could call it the post-terminal, right? So we have this natal point where we're in this existence dealing with whatever the circumstances are that we're confronted with. And then we have that post-terminus point, and we don't really know where it leads. I mean, God willing, it leads somewhere like this. It's a beautiful idea, and I like to believe that that might be the case. And I like to believe that if we're able to practice, then perhaps it's more likely that we would be relieved of the need to have to come back and do this again, because it's pretty much tormentuous, even under good conditions. And the way things are going right now, I wouldn't be surprised if you have to come back a few generations from now. It's going to kind of be hell on earth. I mean, God willing, it won't be, but the signs are troubling. So it seems like now more than ever, it might be really a good idea to wrestle with some of these issues, because if it is the case that there is a doorway that would relieve us from having to return, boy, oh boy, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? It kind of comes down to Pascal's wager, right? Wasn't his basic thing that, yeah, we don't know whether or not God exists, but we may as well pretend or act as if he did, because it would be terrible if he did and we didn't abide by the rules, right? It's a pretty solid argument. I think that it's somewhat cynical. I think there's plenty of good reasons why one might believe in God. As a matter of fact, I wrote something about it, and I think I'll just pop that up on the screen here so that you can see what that is. It's an interesting argument. I think it's a little bit off the beaten path, which I guess you might expect from everything else that's going on this channel. But, nevertheless, just from a rational point of view, Pascal has a real point. So if it is possible to avoid living in hell, we should do what we can to make that happen. It seems that simple. So I think that pretty much covers everything I wanted to say. It's going to be a nice short video. There's a couple more things I could get into, but it feels like that's a complete statement. And most often people don't watch the full 20 minutes of a video, so I'll just end it here, and we'll see what the analytics tell me about what happens when I release a short video. Thanks for listening. Thanks for thinking about these ideas. If you want to support these efforts, there's some stuff up on the screen now, and then there's more like links in the video description. And I hope you'll hit the like button and the subscribe button and share it and all that stuff too if you want to, okay? Thanks very much. Adios.